Hello, hello, hello. Are you someone that has a murky message instead of a magnetic message? And are you ready to solve that problem today? My name is Nancy Juetten. I am the host of the Learn More, Earn More show, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about. And I have the most esteemed guest here today who is an expert in this very topic and so much more, the amazing Rachael Jayne Groover. And I want to tell you a little bit about her before we get the party started. Rachael Jayne is the founder of the Awaken School. It's a community who love having an elevated conversation on spiritual awakening, human potential, and entrepreneurship. Not only is Rachael Jayne a best-selling author of 3 transformative books, a TEDx speaker, and an Inc. 5000 CEO, but she's also the creator of the Art of Feminine Presence Training, a revolutionary program that has been taught worldwide to over 13,000 women in the last 13 years. My, oh my, Rachael Jayne Groover, welcome to the Learn More, Earn More show.
Thank you, Nancy. Great to be here.
And isn't it so fun that it came up as a Facebook memory that we met 10 years ago
I
today
know.
in
That was great.
Colorado at an event from a mutual friend. And I remember seeing you speak about the art of presence at that time and thinking, what a remarkable light you are in the world to help people accomplish that objective. So here we are 10 years later, still in
Well, I
relation.
remember meeting you very, very clearly as well and thinking this person is a very special person on the planet. So,
Oh gosh. Well, thank you
yes,
very much.
seriously. Yeah.
Well, it's good to be with you still today. And your magnetic message, how to stand out and attract clients in 20 seconds. That is a pretty powerful promise. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're also the whiz with this, coming up with things that can really get people's attention fast. And I struggled with that for so long because I'm teaching things like presence and energy work and spirituality and inner work and all of that. And a lot of the Awakened School group are doing things like that. So it's very hard to explain what you do when it's something that's a little more esoteric. So I had to go through the process of like, how do you even message something? And then how do you message it when it's already difficult to explain? So there's kind of a system there is a system that I've found that within about 20 seconds, I can have my ideal client go, whoa, or have them go, I know who I need to connect you with.
Okay, so I'm so intrigued. What more can you tell us about this system?
Yes, yes. I mean, I can lay it out right now and then we
Yeah,
can go,
lay it
then we
out,
can go
baby.
like, yeah.
Let's lead with the huge value.
Exactly, exactly. So, and this is just what's worked for me. Maybe Nancy's got some tweaks here that she would do, but this is what's worked really, really well. Is if someone asks me, what do I do? Or what is your work? Or what have you? I start with the who I'm working with, because I think that really does get them to lean in to go, oh, that's me, or I know someone like that. So I start with, I work with people who've been on a personal and spiritual development path for a long time. So you can imagine if I'm sitting in a shuttle or I'm at the airport and I say that to the next person, if that's that person, if I'm sitting next to Nancy and I say that, she's going to go, what? And we're going to have the conversation from heaven for the next hour, because she knows that she's that person who's been on the path for a long time. And I say specifically for a long time because you do need it niched. And there's a lot of people that love personal development, but there's a very big difference between someone who's been, like me watching Oprah in 1999, and from then doing deep work in every area of personal and spiritual transformation, than someone who's stumbled across law of attraction for the first time 3 years ago. There's a very different person. So I want to be very specific with who that person is. And that's the way that I do it. And it's really important to know that you can niche in lots of different ways. And I'm sure you see this, Nancy, like, oh, does it need to be men, or does it need to be women, or does it need to be this? It's like, there's just many, many ways, and you don't have to contrive it. You just got to be like, this is probably one in, well, I'd say 1 in 20 people, 1 in 50 people that I might meet might say, I'm that person. Because there's a lot of people that might be like, oh yeah, I got a friend who'd probably like your stuff, and it's not me. So I
Because
start with who.
one of the things I love about this, and I teach this too, is that, as we all know, good marketing is either compelling to the person you're talking to or repelling to the person they're talking to. And there are some people that are very woo-woo or spiritual who are going to be very drawn to a spiritual message. And there are some people, maybe actuaries and accountants perhaps, that may hear that and say, okay, sister, that sounds great. Can I have a cup of coffee?
Right,
Right?
right. Or I should connect you with my wife, or I should connect you with my daughter, or that kind of thing. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we start with who it's for.
Yeah.
And
So I work with fill in the blank,
Mhm.
who want, and then fill in the blank. So when you share with them what they want, it's got to be urgent. It's got to be an urgent want, not something that would be nice next year. And most wants are things that people could wait for until next year, right? You know, I want better health. Most people, unfortunately, are putting that off until next year, right? Unless they're in a health challenge, it is urgent. Most people are putting off lowering the conflict in their, family dynamic with their extended family. You know, it's a problem. I want to reduce the conflict, but I don't necessarily want to pay $1,000 to do it right now. So that's not urgent. So you've got to figure out what is urgent and what they would pay. I think that the litmus test to me is at least $1,000 to $2,000 right now, if you could show them how to get what they want, right? Because we don't want to get caught in the, oh, would I pay $100 for that? Because the people that we're working with, they're not big marketing machines. You know, they're not the business that we have, which is still a small business. We have 13 full-timers, and we have, events going on all the time, but it's still a small business. So you don't want to get caught in, I've got to be selling 300 people a year for my $300 thing. So we've got to make it urgent that they would pay at least $1,000 for right now, if you could show them that that's what they want. So I often say things that I work with people who've been on personal spiritual development path for quite some time, who really want to awaken their impact, make a positive difference, but make really good money doing that. Right.
Mm.
So that's one way that I start. Now, if I'm feeling like I'm not talking to a business owner, because most of our work is spiritual and personal transformation. I'm not teaching messaging all day long, but I might change it to, they want to attract the attention that they want in their love life and in their professional life. So, and just playing with the urgent want of the women and men who want to find the love of their life now and they're sick of being single, or the career that they're not getting the response they want. Because presence, what you saw me speak on, I still speak on and teach on, is about being magnetic and getting the attention that you want. But I've got to lead that into something that they really want. And they don't want presence. They don't want to be magnetic. They want the man, they want the woman, they want the career success. So I make sure that I tie that in, of love, the man, the money, and the magnetism, like that kind of thing. So that's the first. Make sure the first thing you say is urgent. Because even yesterday I was doing a training and I asked someone in the room, tell me something that you think is urgent, that they really urgently want. And they said self-love. And I said, yeah and no, because people don't wake up in the morning and go, I can't wait to give someone $1,000 to help me with self-love.
I would be curious what you suggested to this person.
Yeah, so she was a somatic coach, and it was so self-love. So I asked her, like, what does self-love lead them to? And that's when she started going, better relationships, better health, better success. And I asked her, like, with health, are these people who are your ideal clients, are they in a health crisis right now, or are they just willing to put it off? And she said, no, a lot of them are in significant health challenge. So then that would be an urgent want. But if she's coming to me going, I can help you with self-love and have better health, I want better health, but it's not urgent because I'm already very healthy. So I've just kind of always put it off. Now, I joked with her, and it wasn't kind of a joke, Nancy. I said, but if you told me not about health, but you told me about anti-aging, I might go, tell me what that is right now, because I'm on camera a lot and I'm in the public eye a lot and I'm healthy, but I got my eye on anti-aging. So it really depends who you're speaking to. So we took it to health and relationships were the two biggest for her that they want to change, and they don't want to wait 6 months. They don't have 6 months to make a big change in that.
You know, a couple of examples from my world. Sometimes I'll run into people, parents, for example, whose child was just diagnosed with diabetes, or whose child just got diagnosed with an allergy to gluten. And I think as a parent, this is an urgent situation. You just found out that your kid has a special requirement, and you go home and you clean out your pantry, and you have an urgent need to learn how to shop differently and make different choices so that your child can be happy, healthy, and vibrant regardless of this diagnosis that they now face. It's really urgent. You just found out that this is a problem. It's going to be there for a really long time, and you don't have the luxury to wait. And so
Yes.
what you're describing, and what I often do with folks, is I sort of unpeel the onion and find out, well, why does this matter? And why does this matter? And why
Yes.
does this matter? So your
Yeah.
system is you find out who it is and then what they want, and it has to be urgent.
Yes.
And and is there more? Is there more?
Yes.
Tell me
Yes.
more.
So because we're just kind of in a sentence here, and the sentence ends with but struggle with. So they want this, but they struggle with. And the struggle with has got to be something they know they are struggling with. It can't be something that you know they're struggling with and they don't know they're struggling with. It's got to be something that they know they're struggling with. So when you say, this is who, this is what they want, and this is what they're struggling with, if it's the right person, they're going, yes, yes, and yes. Oh my goodness. So the struggle with, in my example, working with personal spiritual development people, been on a path for a long time. They want to awaken their impact and make a lot of money doing positive work in the world, but struggle with getting the amount of leads and interested people and getting people's attention. So they're not making the money they need in order to lift this off the ground.
I could imagine that there's thousands and thousands of authors, speakers, coaches, messengers, healers who are feeling that way, which would likely explain why you've been a very successful 7-figure entrepreneur for many, many years, one right after the other,
Right.
because you're serving these people in these specific ways.
Exactly, exactly. And a few sort of don'ts around message. Like, I do not think that it's wise, at least early on, like, in your process of getting to 6 figures or multi 6 figures, to get stuck calling yourself something. Like, a lot of people go, what am I going to call myself? The this consultant, the that queen, the this coach, the blah blah. And I've never called myself anything ever. I've never called myself a business coach, a spiritual teacher, a blah blah, business coach, nothing. It's I am the person who solves the problem. And
Mm.
and that has to come in messaging, not a title. Now, I think some people have great titles. I'm not, saying it's never something that you want to do, but it puts you in a box. Like if someone said to me, you're the advertising alchemist, I'm going to presume you're in marketing. I'm going to presume you've got a little bit of a slant towards spirituality, but I got to think too much to be like, what is the advertising alchemist?
Every time someone says alchemist, I know it's a beautiful word and
It's
I
a
know what it
beautiful
means,
word.
but I think to myself, there's a very large percentage of the population that's hearing the word alchemist and wishing they had a dictionary in their pocket to understand what it meant. Like not everybody knows
Exactly.
what that is. If it's not crystal clear to a 9-year-old, it may not be crystal
Yes.
clear to the people you want to reach.
Exactly. And even with something simple like I'm a life coach or I'm a such and such coach, most people go, I think I know what that means. I don't have to get a dictionary, but they're going to put you in the box that they are going to put you in. And I don't want to be put in the wrong box. And if I can't explain, this is what you want, this is what I'm solving, and this is who it's for, instead, I'm going to say I'm a life coach and it's about self-love and empowerment and this and that. They're going to go away, you know what they do? They go away patting me on the head going, oh, good for you.
Right. Which is,
Well done. I'm so happy you're doing that. People in the world need what you have. And they kind of walk away, go, I don't really know what they do, but I'm wanting to make this person feel good. So if anyone is getting that a little bit, or whether they're tapping you on the shoulder or the head, I think proverbially that they're doing that. But you feel like people are just trying to make you feel good. They're not saying, I need to work with you now. Then you need to clean up the message.
yes.
And all the notes that I'm going through, I'm giving Nancy in the PDF of the thing. So that will be below. But you've got to clean that up and get it short and punchy and not so much worried about the title.
Oh, I'm so glad we're talking about this because, I wrote a book called Bye Bye Boring Bio, and I've been in this trench with people for a long, long time, and people get so attached to what they're going to call themselves. And it
Yeah.
kind of makes me think about what's going on in the current political climate, where you have one person who's saying, I'm for the people, and you have the other person who's saying, it's all about me, you know? And I think that to the extent that we can make our message about the people that we serve and the outcome that they welcome, the more the person that we're talking to is going to feel included and quite and interested in more insight about what that could mean for them. But when it's all about you, sometimes you end up being very lonely in your room, you know?
Well, exactly. And that's a good example of you don't know who is putting you in what box, because if you say one is saying I'm for the people and one is saying for me, depending on who you're talking to, if someone's in a camp, they think you're talking about this person and the other person thinks you're talking about that person, right? And independent, so like Nancy, I don't know which one's which. So we've got to be really mindful of like, who am I talking to? And I don't want to rely on them thinking what I'm saying. I want
Right,
to be very, very clear on what I'm saying, who I'm talking about, all of those things, because we just look through our lens. This is the
right,
lens I'm looking through. This is the news source I read. This is the people I hang out with. And that's the same for life coaching. Some people are in groups, they're like, I don't know what a lot, like life coaches are so da da da, where there's other groups like life coaches are saving the planet, literally,
right.
you know?
Well,
So,
so clarity, getting clarity on these things, the who, the what, and what the struggle is, to you and me may seem like a very simple problem to solve because we've been in the
yes,
trenches a very long time. But we know that healers, coaches, facilitators, people who are making transformation happen, some of them find getting to clarity very challenging.
yes,
So, what thoughts do you have in addition to what you've already shared about
yes.
how to slay that challenge?
Yes, I would first start with an urgent wants and needs chart on a piece of paper. Just draw a line down the middle. put urgent wants of your client. This is presuming that you know who you want to serve. Maybe you don't know how to verbally share it yet. That's fine. But if you think about the ideal avatar, all the urgent things that they would pay $1,000 for in the next 6 months, they wouldn't want to wait a year. And then all the things that on the need side is that you know they need in order to get that. I would do that, and then I would show someone who is a strong marketer, right? Someone who understands, so you can get a read, because every time I do this chart, and we'll be doing it at Awaken Your Impact and going through all of it, and there's people in there, and I say, great, I've taught on it, you know it, I've given you examples, they do the chart, and half the room have got it completely wrong, because it's new information, and they've still got things on that. So we have to figure it out. And that's where I come in, Nancy, you come in, someone who really understands marketing, to get a checks and balance. And then once you have that, that document is golden, because you can go put it somewhere that you're writing your emails, you're writing posts. And what I used to do is I would write, when I was getting used to it, because I still want to talk about all the needs, being in your body, being, in your energy field, da, 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 da. But they were all on the need side. I would write the email or I'd write the post, and then I would look at my chart and I'd go, oh, did it again. And I would start inserting the urgent want. So it was a good checks and balance once I had it there and knew it was right. So I would do that first. And listening is the best marketing skill of all. So don't rush I got to get things together. I've got to pull this message together. Start talking to more people. Even if you've been in the business for 10 years, but you're plateauing, or you've never really been able to get over a six-figure year, which is nothing to be ashamed of, right? Like, it's just sometimes we just don't get the learning and the skills that we need, that we realize that we need. I did that for 5 years thinking, I can figure this out, and I couldn't figure this out.
Well, I'm really glad you said that, because one of the things I wanted to add is something you said, make sure you speak to someone who understands and is talented with marketing.
Yes.
Because we need to all take care who we give sanction to. If you're living next door to a lady who bakes a lot of cakes, you can certainly borrow flour and sugar and eggs from your neighbor and still get a really good cake. But if you're trying to discern what a marketing message is going to be so that it will resonate, you need to talk to someone who's got time in the trenches doing exactly that. Because otherwise you're borrowing sugar from a neighbor, which may not bring the flavor that's needed to make this thing stand out.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of things needing to stand out, we live in a world where social media is omnipresent. We're moving from platform to platform to platform. Some people are doing social media brilliantly. Some people are doing it less so. How do we go to social media once we know who it is and what we do for them and why it's urgent? What are your thoughts or ideas around how to make the most of what we do on social to amplify our good intentions?
Yeah. So we don't have social media as one of our primary marketing strategies. It is one of our marketing strategies, but it's not one of our primary. We have speaking opportunities, speaking gigs, sponsorships, joint venture opportunities, networking, things like that come high. And the reason come higher than social media. And the reason being is because I'm all about how do you get people's attention and hold people's attention for a long period of time, because in business, attention is the currency. If you don't have anyone's attention, there is nothing happening. And if you've got a lot of attention for a long period of time, there can be a lot of things happening. So social media, the scrolling is like, oh my gosh, if I sat on social media all day yesterday and posted, I wouldn't have got the results that I got going into a 22-person women's business group yesterday with sales at the end. So
Yes, I'm so glad you talked about this because I think there are so many tactics that are available to us. And if we're bellying up to the free bar to say, well, what am I supposed to do to make this happen? There's a lot of wasted time and activity and action that doesn't go very far, very fast. So I would be remiss if I didn't talk to you a little bit about presence. What is presence and how do we know if we've got it? If we don't have it, where can we find it?
Where is it? So presence to me is not performance. It's not, being magnetic for magnetic's sake, but we are talking about magnetism and what creates that. And I'm glad you brought it up because we're working with the words here, but energy's always first. I can help someone put a message up. I bring people up on stage, give them a little makeover, and they can say it and people go, oh, that's so much better. But people are still not really like, oh, I want to work with that person. I steal every word that they say. I do my presence practices. Now everyone wants to buy the same thing from me, even though it's their thing and it's not mine. Why is that? Because I'm doing my presence practices. I'm in my magnetism. So what do I do? How do I do that? There's a few key areas of practices. First is your body. You've got to be in your body. And most people are not in their body. They're in their head bubble when they're talking. Maybe they're in their body when they're on the yoga mat or when they're doing a meditation or when they're, making love, hopefully, they're not in it when they've got to be talking about what I do. So head bubble is out. And I'll just go out into my head bubble for a moment so you can notice that I start talking a bit like this. Hi, Nancy, it's so great to see you today. And this conversation about messaging is really important because people really struggle a lot of the time with what to say and how to say it and how to understand what to put in and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't know about you, but it feels like the air's gone out of the balloon. There's not as much potency that when I now come in my body and I'm feeling my hands and I'm feeling my chest and I'm feeling my lower belly and I'm in it, right? Like a good dancer or martial artist would, the magnetism spikes huge. I don't know if that's coming through on the video, but
Oh, I can definitely see it because the first one was kind of sanitized. It was correct. The words were fine, but the music wasn't grooving,
Right,
right?
right. And people start checking out when you're not in your body. They distrust you because now they're in their head bubble. So whenever you're the one leading, sharing a message, you're the one in training the rest of the room, right? Which is why I love training speakers because they've got a sharing message, but they're still in training the room that they could check their cell phone, they could kind of doze off for a moment. Or if I'm on, I'm like, I want to be in a place where you can't look away. Like it is so potently there. And a lot of that's coming from my body movement and being inside my body. And then the second thing I would say is your energy field and how that is moving. And so many people shrink their energy field when they are sharing what they do, maybe out of nervous, maybe out of, oh, I haven't got this right, or maybe I don't want to look like I'm too big for my britches, whatever. So you've got to have a larger energy field that is going to allow more trust. It's going to make you look more expert. It is going to be more welcoming and more magnetic. Because think the magnetism is not like throw your energy everywhere. Throw your voice to the back of the room is good, but you don't want to like throw your energy to the back of the room. You're about creating this really potent light on the stage or on the video camera or in the networking group that people are like, what's going on over there? So it's very much about like containing your energy
And
here.
I'm going to venture to say that if you know who your thing is for and you know why it's important to them and what transformation will affect already intellectually and in your heart and gut, you know that there's something important going on. But if you can embody
Yes.
this message and have it ring true when you talk about it with some kind of sparkle in your eye, that's where people can be compelled, right?
Absolutely. I love that sparkle in your eye, because if someone's not got a sparkle in their eye when they're talking about what they want, what they do, even if it's the problem, even if it's the struggle, I don't get it.
You know,
The energy doesn't come across.
I remember this situation so vividly a number of years ago. This very talented woman who looked beautiful and had lots of friends and everybody loved her. But when she got her opportunity to share her little 1 minute spiel, she actually had it on a business card or a little white index card, and she would read it. And I'm going, gosh, the words and the music don't match. She's such a package, and yet she doesn't have the confidence to own and embody what this message was. And I remember thinking to myself, I hope someone will whisper in her ear that she's got to get that in her instead of on
Yes.
that index card.
Yes.
Um, so this leads me to, you've got a couple of gifts for us today. I'm
Yes.
guessing that everybody who's watching and everyone who's watching in the replay is going to say, oh my gosh, where have I been missing Rachael Jayne Groover? Because I love what she talks about. I love how she talks about it, and I'm hungry for more. So we talked a lot about magnetic messaging and how to get that nailed in 20 seconds or less. You have a special report that will help people do that.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yes, absolutely. Your magnetic message, it is a PDF, easy download. It will give you the whole template, including an extra sentence. So we've done the first sentence, I work with, who want, who struggle with, and some other keys on what would be the next sentence or two if you're really wanting people to be at the end of just a very short thing. There's some tips in there too, if you've got something that's very difficult to explain, like I do, because I teach 44 energetic, psychological embodiment practices. And that's, how do you explain what that is? Because that was my Art of Feminine Presence work. That made us $1 million a year, just that one program. And I'm teaching people very esoteric things. So if I can do it, you can do it with what you've got. So there's some tips in that for difficult to explain kind of things, and easy to follow, So download that, get the template, and then I'd love to hear it. Like, check me out on Facebook or Instagram and share where it comes up. The other one is our Awaken Your Impact Intensive. If you would like to do a 3-day workshop with me this year, they're coming up very, very soon, is the home edition. So wherever you're watching from today, you can do it from your home. And that is the whole picture of how you become a standout voice and thought leader in your industry. So it's not just about the message. Message is one part, but you're going to learn a lot of the presence practices. So people are like, whoa, who is that person? There's something different about that person. We're going to help you become a magnetic speaker using the energetic practices and the spiritual and mental and emotional fitness that you need if you're going to sustain a 6 or 7 figure business. Because Nancy, you and I see it all the time, is you might see what's on front of, oh, I'm doing well or whatever. And behind the gate, they're stressed, unhappy, not clear. And I mean, that was my life the first few years of my business. So I'm not saying like I wasn't part of that. But for the last 10 years, I'm more proud that I have an unshakable inner peace, and I have a great marriage, and I have great health, and I've never burnt out. Like, that's what I'm proud of building a multi-7-figure year business. So a lot of this training is how to see this for the long game, so you can be making money every year after year after year and have the inner peace that matches your outer purpose working as well. So it is going to be a really robust training. And Nancy has $1 tickets for the home edition because she is so amazing. And I love sharing what Nancy has as well. And there is the in-person edition as well. We run a retreat center now in Loveland, Colorado, and we are doing an in-person edition of Awaken Your Impact, which is free. The link will be below, and let me know if you have any questions about Awaken Your Impact. Would love to have you there.
I love the descriptions that you've provided for both of these items. And for those of you who are driving or multitasking, you'll want to go to the show notes because these links are there for you, but it's getknowngetpaid.com/RJ magnetic message for that special PDF. And it's getknowngetpaid.com/RJ awaken impact to do the 3-day virtual event. I wanted to ask you, I love that it's $1. Tell us about that.
Well, I think going back to attention, right? That attention is the most valuable currency. And I don't want to be in the scrolling wars with other people. I want to put my money and time and energy where my mouth is and show you over 3 days, having your attention, that I know how to radically change your inner life and business life. So it's like we're in a room, a small room, cohesive, and I know that people love it, and some people will go, I want to do more. But really it's about figuring out, where am I best? And I'm best teaching on stage in a live event and working with people, drilling through laser coaching and drilling, workshopping their message and workshopping their thing, versus, hi, it's Rachael Jayne again. And then you're going through. Not that that's not part of it, but most of what I do on social media is long form like this. I want to get people into our group, the Awaken School group, and do something meaningful and just be pointing toward that. So it's just our business model. And it makes it easy then for people to say yes if they're not sure. Like, what can you lose for $1? You maybe time, but you're not. You're going to love this experience and get a lot from it.
I think it's so smart. And I guess if I were to add anything to it is, if you've enjoyed meeting Rachael Jayne and appreciating the way she embodies her own message and the way that she teaches and trains, and you're hungry for more, make a decision to join her for the home edition, and then just clear your calendar and be intentional about getting every bit of value that is waiting for you during that event, because your intention will guide your outcome. And what if the picture she's painting about having a brilliant life and having an abundant business could be yours sooner versus later, and her particular style of showing you how to do it was really the thing you've been waiting all along. So please invest in yourself, put the time forth. Don't be one of those folks that signs up but doesn't show up, because if, I often say how you do anything is how you do everything. If this is the right approach for you, you know it, and you'll be there. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to have this conversation today, because I think it's going to help a lot of people. And so, Rachael Jayne, is there any parting thought you would have for our listeners or viewers before we close for today?
I love what you just said about the match, the way that I might teach about it. That's really important when you're finding trainers and mentors and support, is it's got to be a match. And you might learn something from one person. It's like, it just didn't work, and it wasn't them, it wasn't you, it was just that. So I love that you highlight that, and be looking for people on your path that you resonate with, and that they are doing similar things to you. It's good to get out of the world of just everybody does the same thing, but why I think we get a lot of empaths and coaches and healers and people who are in the energetic world and here raising the consciousness of the planet is because that's what my first and foremost thing is. And that's just helpful to be in the same room with those kinds of people. Then I'm learning business from some, tie suit person who's, teaching mostly accountants, actuaries, legal professionals. Like, there's that. So follow also the energy of your tribe and where you might fit in. And if you're resonating with me in these words, you'll know.
Well, what I often say, is if it's not a fit, you must not commit, but if it's right, go all in.
Yeah.
If it's right, go all in. And so,
Yes.
Rachael Jayne, thank you so much for making valuable time in your schedule to have this conversation with me and my viewers and listeners. I can't
Absolutely.
wait to hear how well it goes, and I look forward to having future conversations. If you are watching or listening and you've enjoyed this conversation, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends to listen into this and other conversations we have with illuminating experts who have big ideas to share that can help you learn more and earn more. And until then, we'll see you at the next program. We're signing off for now. Thank you.